welcome to another episode, brand new episode of the Rebel Radio podcast. And I guess it's always brand new every week. We usually don't repeat things, but I don't know. But I just felt like important to say it's a brand new episode of the Rebel Radio podcast at the rebelradiopodcast.com as we continue on to the grand finale conclusion of our 70th anniversary celebration of Godzilla this month. As we close out November, even though there's a few days left in November, Turkey Day and all that stuff, by the time our next episode come out, it will be December. But so closing out November, finishing off Godzilla month, and it's been fun so far, and it's not over yet as we've got this next hour or so to go to talk your ears off with some more Godzilla goodness. Fellas, how are you?
Good. Peachy. It's the end of the week. Can't ask for anything
Dude,
more.
I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a week. Yep. Man, I was I glance at my phone sometimes whenever I'm like, no, I've had a long day and look at my steps. And man, I swear almost every day I'm over 17,000 this week. That's how busy work has been. It's like my feet hurt. And some of that's a little old age too. A lot of it's work this week. It's like, good Lord, man, it's been a week, but I'm glad it's done. Now a little bit of weekend to relax before some busy days before Turkey Day here in America.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, sir. Turkey Day.
I have to do multiple Thanksgiving this year. So in order to not get burnt out on turkey, we're doing brisket on this Sunday.
Aren't you? You're like part Mexican. You're supposed to do fucking tamales or something, man.
I know, right? Turkey tamales. Turkey enchiladas.
I mean, see, brisket's cool, but we're Texans. We eat brisket all the time, So
Yeah.
I feel like turkey and ham is something we don't eat all the time. So I don't mind eating it between November and December,
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
The last 2 years before this year, I had Thanksgiving by myself, and made myself a steak dinner.
Yeah. Dude, that looked good too. Didn't you get like 2 steaks? Didn't you get like a ribeye?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I spoiled myself with 2 freaking ribeyes, man. And I'm like, hell yeah, I don't have to share this shit with anyone. This is mine.
This is all mine.
Yeah, the last
awesome.
2 years I've been just treating myself to a home cooked steak the way I want to make it. So
Nice,
There you
man.
go. Nothing wrong with that. And but yeah, man. So we'll do that this coming week, and Thanksgiving is not my most favorite holiday, but it is what it is. You just sit around and you eat and watch football usually.
Yep. The same teams
Lions.
play.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lions are good this year. They could win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, but here in Texas, we finally have the great rivalry of Texas and Texas A&M back this year, but it can't be on Thanksgiving Day anymore because of the NFL, since they now own that day.
Yep.
And you're fucking with Texas tradition, but you don't do that, damn it. So, and screw NFL. Anyway, but so that should be good. There's some movies coming out though. I think next Saturday morning I'm gonna try to take Waverly to see Moana too. She wants to see
okay.
it. So
Oh, yeah.
I think I'll take her to see that. And,
I didn't know there was a trade and a review embargo on it the week of release.
that's
Yeah.
pretty common.
For
It's
a major
usually
release.
the first couple days.
Yeah.
Well, the week of release, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you see, they're releasing it Tuesday. You can go Tuesday to go see it
Oh, wow.
while all the kids are out from school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that because I thought about it, and I was like, no, that might be cool to go to.
No, it comes out. Well, I guess there must be Tuesday night screenings. The official release is Wednesday at 27th. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'd rather go see that. I have no interest in seeing Wicked. I know lots of people are going to see that this weekend. But I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, with a very sickly looking, what's her name in it? Like, there's something wrong
Ariana
with
Grande.
Is there something wrong with her? First off, she
Plastic
looks
surgery.
like plastic surgery and the Michael Jackson syndrome. Like, did something to her skin. She looks weird.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see Moana 2 Tuesday at 2 p.m. as early as 2 p.m. Crazy.
I have to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I'll go Saturday morning. I can wait. We can go Saturday morning. No rush.
I just think that threw me off because the last time I saw that was Super Mario. It came out like last year, I think, around like spring break or something like that. I think
It happens every now and then. Movies, last year Dead Reckoning tried that. They came out with like on a Tuesday night screens and moved it up from Friday to Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
even though we didn't see it till that weekend, but yeah. So every now and then you get Wednesday release. You still get Wednesday releases.
Yeah. Throws me off whenever I see that.
Doesn't Gladiator 2 come out next week too? I think so.
I think so. Yeah, people have been showing off the Maximus. The Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Its reviews are pretty solid, So yeah, I mean, they're saying it's not the original, but they're still saying it's pretty good.
It's hard to follow that.
Better than Napoleon, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
Well, that's where well, I've read that it's kind of a return to form for Ridley Scott after a few duds. So yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but I'll definitely at some point watch it. That's for sure. I mean, definitely interesting. It's got a good cast, Pedro Pascal and Denzel Washington, everybody. So, sure, I'll check it out at some point. But it feels like, I took the kids to see The Wild Robot, but it feels like it's been a while since I've been in the theater.
Yeah.
Before that, I don't think I had seen anything since Deadpool and Wolverine. I kept trying to go see Alien Romulus, but never did. But that's okay. But there is a movie I did watch that was in theaters this summer. I watched it on Peacock, and that was Twisters. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's kind of like the first one.
Yeah.
It's like the first one's better, but it doesn't do anything the first one didn't do. The first half of the movie is very messy, and then the second half of the movie is much better. Yeah. So the first hour of it's kind of like just not very good, and the second half of the movie, the second half is very entertaining. It's a movie. I mean, it does its job. It entertains you. But it was well done. It didn't step on the original's ideas or anything. It's just kind of a new group of storm chasers, and there's no direct tie-in with the original. Everybody was thinking it was like, Bill Paxton's kid or something like that. There's nothing like that. And it's just another story of these characters.
Bill Paxton's kid does make a cameo as a reporter, right? Yeah.
But
it's quick, I heard.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was decent little movie. If you're bored, want to watch something for a couple hours, it's entertaining, so it wasn't the worst thing ever. So, it's on Peacock, and Matt, it was funny because Matt texted me going, because me and Matt share some accounts. He's like, "Did you rent Twisters?" I'm like, "No, but I literally just started watching part of it on Peacock." And it was just weird timing. It was like, I'm like thinking, did I do something wrong because it was behind a paywall?
Whoops.
And I'm like, and Matt's like, no, it was a Prime Video. I'm like, okay. So did you figure out your kids hit it by accident?
Yeah, damn, Sammy, he had got a hold of the controller, and there's a couple TVs. Well, obviously the TV in our room. I don't have any permission set up on it because it's our room. So if by chance we kind of leave them to their own devices for too long, then something may happen. Yeah. But everything else is password protected.
I don't know if you can do it on Prime, but like on Vudu, I have a PIN number you have to punch in to purchase anything.
Yeah. For me, it's I have it set up for rated R films. So if they try and watch a rated R film,
yes, I know. Every time I use your Prime, I have to punch in the code to watch something like I'm a kid.
Yep. Like, did your daddy let you? Did your parents give you permission? So same here. Only whenever I watch it on mobile. If I try and watch a movie on mobile, then it docks.
I know that like my family members would offer me to share onto their account, and I'm like, nope. I'd rather have my own private stream, watch all the porn, and that logs all of my softcore porn on my accounts. And
I never passworded my Vudu or Fandango, whatever it's called, until I put on my mom's TV. So when the kids were over there, they could watch movies, right? And my kids know better. But then one day I'm over and my nephew's like, "Oh, what's this? And what's this?" And he's almost purchasing things right in front of me. I was like, "Whoa, Adrian, you can't do that." And so that's when I decided to put a password on it. So in case they're over there at my mom's and they don't go buying stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I watched that, and then I got on HBO Max, and I finally Who Watches the Watchmen? Well, I did. See, that was clever. I watched the animated version of The Watchmen. Actually, it's really good. Yeah, sure. If you've seen the live action Zack Snyder film, you've seen the story, and it follows a lot of that very closely, but it fleshes out some things more that are in the comics that Zack Snyder did not put in his movie. But I think it works really well in animated form. The colors and the ideas, they definitely play on a little bit more of the political aspects of the comic that the Snyder chose to back up from some in his live action version and focus more on the superheroes. But I really liked it, man. And I know Chapter 2 I think is fixing to come out, and it was well done, well animated, well voice acted. And even though, like I said, we've seen the story before, it still felt kind of fresh seeing that form. It adds a lot of the Black Freighter comic book stuff in it with the kid reading the Black Freighter that parallels the story of the Watchmen, which I think adds a really nice touch to it. And I know the extreme director's cut of Snyder's film has all that in it, but I still think it worked really well in animated form. And it doesn't, it stays true to the comics by being pretty hardcore rated R for an animated film. So it's good stuff, man. I really, really liked it. And I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, being that we've seen this before. We've all been reading The Watchmen for almost 40 years. And we know the story, and we've seen the movie, but it really was kind of refreshing. It was really good in animated form. So I'd recommend it, man. If you're a fan of DC movies and comics and read the books, I'd give the animated film a chance.
I heard the TV show was really good.
Yeah, I've only watched the first episode ever. I've always wanted to go back and watch it, but I have heard good things about it, And I think I might have to give that a chance here, give it a shot. I watched that. Then I did get through I think I have a few minutes left, almost the third episode of The Penguin. I think I had to stop it because I had to go down and meet the bus for the kids, and I didn't quite finish the third episode. But trekking along in that show.
Yeah.
But just a couple things I watched this week.
Yeah. The only thing I saw, I'm trying to play catch up, and I was trying to watch Daredevil season 3, and I made it like the first episode and a half or 2 episodes, and fucking A, Jesus, there's a lot of moping in this fucking show. It's like, it's like,
oh, is that the one where he starts out where he had gotten beat up and he's staying with the nuns? Is that season?
Yeah.
It's so fucking mopey. It's like, I can't get through this,
Yeah.
And it's like, is he still having this fucking existential crisis?
That season borrows heavily from Kevin Smith's Born Again storyline.
Anyhow, well,
or Guardian at Devil, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was a slog. I didn't even finish the second episode.
But the season ends so good.
Does it?
I do remember that. That season starts out a little bit, but the payoff for the rest of that season is worth it.
Yeah. That's the one with Poindexter, right?
Yeah.
Bullseye.
Or Bullseye, yeah.
It didn't captivate me as well as Penguin did. That's
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I really do like Daredevil. It's just right now I'm slogging through 2.5 hours of, oh, woe is me. Oh, should I be a vigilante? Oh, and then fucking Foggy comes in and starts moping some more. It's like, it's like, oh, you shouldn't be a vigilante. You're a lawyer. Like,
that's why.
And then Karen Page is fucking crying all the time.
Yeah, and it goes through her backstory.
Like, come on, man.
One thing I did not like about that show is I never really liked the kid who played Foggy Nelson. I always remember as the dude from Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks. Yeah.
And I don't know. I just didn't buy into him. I mean, the girl who plays Karen Page is fine.
Yeah, she's fine. She's good. She's great.
But the guy who plays Foggy was just kind of It's kind of weak link on the show.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just go on the Wikipedia and just read the spoilers. I don't give a shit.
You could do that, but I would do yourself a favor and watch the last couple episodes. See the grand finale and the fight against Wilson Fisk. It's all worth it.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, other than that, pretty quiet on my end.
So I did check out Transformers 1. It was I found it surprisingly good. I think it's definitely I thought it was going to be geared more towards kids because of kind of like the uppity and fun attitude of the Autobots or Transformers in the film, but I think it does a good job of kind of having that kind of going deeper into the previous relationship of Optimus and Megatron. Of course, they have two different names: D16 and Orbit.
These
Orbit
nuts.
something. Yes, it's probably it's something like that. I'm just like, I kind of ignored their initial names, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's
Orion
fine.
Pax. I think.
Orion
Yeah,
Pax.
Pax.
Orion Pax.
And then you have Sentinel.
Excuse me.
And I kind of felt like I knew where it was going from the beginning. I'm like, man, this doesn't seem right. And then, the way they were being talked to by the false prime, I was like, I kind of got the idea, but it does it really well. It's not just for kids. I think if you're older and you're a Transformers fan, you can enjoy it. And Chris Hemsworth, you know what? Not bad. I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
Well, it had Disney people behind it. It's from the director of Toy Story 4, had people written Disney films on it, and I feel like the marketing of it should have sold that from the director of Toy Story 4, and that's why it plays well to adult audiences and to kids, because it doesn't take its audience for granted like a Disney movie doesn't.
Fucking Paramount! I swear to God.
Yeah.
It's like they are. If it's not a Mission Impossible movie or a Fast and Furious movie, they will not put any kind of money into marketing whatsoever.
And it was due in June. Well, originally
Yeah.
it was supposed to be out in June. They pushed it back to September.
Yeah.
What for?
Yeah.
I guess they were worried about other movies. I guess they were worried about Inside Out and stuff. But I think it would have played better in the summer.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's why Star Trek Star Trek Beyond didn't do so well. It's because they didn't put any advertisement behind it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know what? Hasbro this week, in response to the weak performance of Transformers 1, Hasbro says we're not gonna help Paramount fund Hasbro movies anymore because they're playing it safe. They know that they got guaranteed money from Hasbro, so they're not, feel like they need to take risks. Well, now that Hasbro is like, well, we're not going to put down any money then. You guys are still contracted to finish these what we agreed upon, these movies. So now Paramount's like, oh shit, it's like we don't have that safety net anymore. So I guess we'll have to actually work a little harder.
They've been talking about doing a Transformers versus G.I. Joe movie. It's like, why? No one asked for that. It's like,
actually, I wouldn't mind.
Well, it just depends on how it's done. I mean,
Cobra.
The G.I. Joe films, I didn't hate them, but I didn't love them either. The second one's better than the first one. Same with the Transformers films. I've never really hated any of them except for The Last Night. That was pretty bad, but they are what they are. But I feel like I wish Transformers 1 had done better, and because I feel like keeping the series alive in animation is the best way to do it. And I'd like to see them go forth with that. But they're both great IPs. I mean, Transformers and G.I. Joe, so they deserve a future, in whether it's animation or live action. And so we'll see what they do going forward. I know there was talk at one time of possibly Travis Knight, who directed Bumblebee, be the one to direct Transformers or G.I. Joe. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he's still involved or not. So we'll see. But I think he'd be a good choice, and he's in fact the director of the movie we're doing in a couple of weeks with Kubo and the Two Strings. So he's a really very talented director. So, but hey, if they do get a Transformers vs. G.I. Joe movie off the ground, I'll be there. I'll go see it. It's like,
absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
it's like, why
well,
not?
Speaking of which, I do have the special edition one here. While you guys talk, and I'll go find it here.
Yeah. So lastly, I did check out the premiere of Dune Prophecy. Dune Prophecy, I had to look up if it was based in anything, and it is based off of Frank Herbert's. Oh, nice. Dude, that is badass.
I have the G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover set, which Megatron turns into the Cobra Hiss tank. So, anyways,
that is cool.
Didn't mean to interrupt you, Matt.
Oh,
you're good. Matt
was
that
just
is a cool toy.
Yeah. So, man, so you made it through. I tried watching that. 15 minutes in, the dialogue is so bad.
Yeah, even though you've got Mark Strong and the chick from Red Dragon, forget her name, but I know her face.
She was Equilibrium also, yeah.
What movie again?
He watched the premiere of Dune Prophecy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think I will go back and finish it, but man, the first 15 minutes, I think I just was in the mood. The dialogue was bad. I'm like, oh, what is this, man? You know?
Yeah, I may give the second episode a try. I felt like the was it the tech machines, that they have to fight at the beginning, where they touch on was cool. I know they're in the Dune Sisterhood novel.
Well, okay. That's what they're saying. Now they're advertising it as based on the Dune Tales of the Sisterhood novel or whatever, but there's Dune fans who are saying that's not true.
Yeah, it's loosely based because it has like the origins of the Bene Gesserit. And I never went that far. I stopped on book 4. And I think that's the one where Paul Atreides' son
that's
is
the children of Dune,
the God Emperor. Yeah, the God Emperor, where he basically turns into like a sandworm hybrid. And I'm like, no, this is weird. And I was like, and I knew that it wasn't going to be, once you go past book 4, it's all his son who writes the books, and I know those aren't as good.
And Kevin J. Anderson, wrote him with. Kevin J. Anderson is a good author. Well, let's not leave him out of it.
Let me guess. Did he start the book by starting with the line "there and back again"?
There and back again.
No, anyways.
But yeah, no, I really liked the Dune Prophecy book, which I thought this might be based off of at first, but then whenever, of course, the trailers come out, you see different.
Yeah, I think it's only like 6 episodes, so I don't think it's a real long series.
Yeah, and it goes back really, really far, and has nothing to do with the 2 movies. Really,
other than the Atreides still exist.
Yeah, the Atreides do exist. They're one of the houses, and they try introducing you to some other houses. But I'm like, does anyone really care about those? We just care about the Harkonnens and the Atreides. It's like,
which blows my mind, because even in a futuristic society, for any family name to last 10,000 years is insane.
Yeah,
that's just like,
Warhammer 40,000. If you guys ever get a chance, watch some of those lore videos and get to know the universe of Warhammer 40K. This set 40,000 years into the future. It's awesome. It's really cool. So if you want a really far-flung feature, so
right. Yeah, I think when I put Doom Prophecy on there and I just couldn't get into it, and I was like, and I'll come back to it. Maybe I will. We'll see. Yeah, but I don't. I'm good with just the movies that we're getting from Denis Villeneuve, and looking forward to his third one in a couple of years. And I'm good with that. I don't need spinoffs of everything. It's like every fucking thing now has a spinoff or a prequel series, or it's like, it's successful. Let's get that spinoff going right away. Yeah.
I hope he brings back Jason Momoa's character Duncan, just like in the book for his third film. Yeah, we'll see if that happens.
Even the character we've been talking about this month has a spinoff TV series. Let's be real; everything has a spinoff.
Right.
But
into the future.
Got to fill that content void.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
nice little segue.
Today's feature film, man. This is a movie that just came out actually almost a year to date, December 3rd to be official, last year when this hit American theaters, and came out in Japan about a month before, and which is still the closest gap we've ever had between the theatrical release in Japan and theatrical release in America for a Godzilla film, which is really cool. And so we didn't have to wait very long to see it here. And this movie went on to make a good amount of money for a film that only cost around $13 million to make. Won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects for the first time ever that the big guy won an Oscar. And should have been nominated for best foreign language film, but Japan chose to nominate one of their other films, which is okay. We'll forgive them for that.
Yeah.
And but that is the mega hit last year and our movie of the year last year, Godzilla Minus One. And man, this is a film that has refreshed the big guy's popularity with the world. I want to say I truly believe that, and it's a refreshing take where we I haven't summarized in a while, so I guess I'll do it today. Where we open up with a young man who's supposed to be a kamikaze pilot, and he's just trying to land his plane and be safe, and he ends up meeting up some other soldiers who don't really know he's a kamikaze pilot at first, and they're attacked by a monster at dark, and everyone is killed except for him and Mr. Tababachi. Is that how you say his name? The mechanic who worked on the planes, and so we move forward to post-war World II Japan, and he's living with this regret and the PTSD syndromes, and when legends start to arise of a monster at sea, and it turns out that that monster is Godzilla, and he remembers seeing him, a few years back, and he wreaks havoc across Japan, and they come up with a way through the citizens to stop Godzilla because it seems like the government and doesn't want to help and everyone else. So they come up with their own plan to stop Godzilla, and they go through with it, and it works. And that's summarizing very quickly, but that's the reason I do that is because I want to save all the good stuff for the conversation in this, because this is quite a remarkable movie, and it's not just a good Godzilla film; it's a good film.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it a very, very special. I mean, it tells a fantastic human story. That's, to me, a lot of these monster movies get caught up in being a monster movie with humans in it. This is a human story with a monster in it, and it really is, and it's a really well done human story, where every character that has dialogue and has an important part in it is important to the story. And I realized that watching the several times I watched it now, like, wow, this is just really well thought out storytelling, and amazing film for $13 million budget with some special effects that will blow away a lot of stuff. I just mentioned watching Twisters. The special effects in this are better than Twisters. Just the stuff they do in it. I mean, sitting there watching from the water scenes to the Godzilla attacking scenes, the explosions, and I'm just like, how did they make this for $13 million? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then we'll get more into that as we go along. And of course, it even had a special release last year where they re-released it in black and white and called it Godzilla Minus One Minus Color, which was really cool. And they didn't just monotone it. They actually went in and frame by frame and color and decolorized it, and made it look like an old black and white film, which was a neat experience seeing it like that. There's a shot towards the end of the film where they all truly think they're going to die. They think they're not going to stop Godzilla at that point. And that scene to me really hit in black and white. Just when the slow motion comes and everything, it's just like, I don't know why. I just remember seeing it in black and white and thinking, man, that emotional context of that scene just hit a little bit harder. So there's a lot to take in on this movie. And I know I'm yapping. So I'll let you guys give out some of your initial thoughts when y'all first saw Godzilla Minus One last year. We all saw it around the same time last year and all had wonderful reactions to this.
Yeah. Which of us three saw it first? Was it me or?
I think you saw it first. Yeah.
Yeah.
You went to the fan event.
Yeah. I went and saw it in IMAX over at Willowbrook. And it was like the first Godzilla movie where I actually had to cover my ears because they were really blasting it over the speakers whenever Godzilla roared. But quick little fun fact. So in Japan, the movie grossed $48 million, right? But when it was released in the States, its entire run, it grossed $57 million in the US. So the movie overall made $113 million with a $13 million budget. That's a hell of a profit margin. Yeah. And they don't have to go to China because China would take up half the proceeds, just for distributing in the country. But yeah, it was a fantastic movie. It's like one of the first Godzilla movie that actually made me teared up a little bit with some of the emotional scenes in there. You really relate to the PTSD that that the main lead goes through. And it's pretty pretty immersive in the storytelling, especially where the water chase scene where he's really up close and personal with chasing the boat.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah, it's like, okay, I've never seen that before. That's really cool. That's scary too. And yeah, this Godzilla's a
it's like Jaws, man. It was
yeah,
like Jaws. Reminded me of Jaws, that scene.
yeah. Except it looks realer than Jaws in a funny way.
Hmm.
Um, despite it being CGI. But yeah, I really love this movie. It's definitely in my top three now, as far as Godzilla movies are concerned. Uh, Relatable characters, um, great action set pieces, great score too, as well.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
He does a
yeah,
great job combining the classic Godzilla theme and score with new music in it too, and I think it's
yeah,
fantastic transitions in the music.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the even though this music doesn't have the classic, I mean, it has the classic themes, but its original melodies don't really
Mhm.
stick out that much. But they still stick out enough for you to remember,
Right,
uh, compared to like Junkie XL's score of the last two MonsterVerse movies. You don't
Mhm.
really remember the themes
Right,
at all, and like Godzilla versus Kong and Godzilla X Kong. You don't know the themes at all. It's just drony music. No, there's no character to it. But
right.
this score has some character to it. So the choir singing and you know, uh, the ominous trumpets going off during the atomic bomb fallout scene. Um, Not trumpets, but you know,
Yeah, the
bass
horns.
strings and horns and stuff. Um, but yeah, fantastic. A+ for me, definitely. So go ahead, Matt.
Yeah.
What
No.
was your reaction?
I like obviously the human story was the biggest thing, and I took Jake to see it. And you guys talked about the PTSD part. My Jake was like, why is he so upset? Why is he waking up in the middle of the night and freaking out? And I was like, well, because
Because
he feels,
Tiger.
yeah,
Oh,
he feels
because old
guilty.
chum.
Yeah. Well, chum, he feels guilty about living while he ran and hid, and all those other brave men died,
Sorry.
doing nothing to Godzilla's skin with their Arasakas, or their Japanese Arasakas. And yeah, I was like, and then he's like, why do I have get to live and they don't? So it's like there's a lot of touchy things and multiple relationships, and balancing all these relationships, and not, and being able to keep the storyline intact and see the film from beginning to end, and have it all come together is amazing, because of like Mark said, everybody has a purpose. Every single character has a purpose. There isn't really a throwaway character in this film. And you could take Godzilla and replace Godzilla with anything. You could replace Godzilla with a volcano, a tornado, a hurricane. This could be a natural disaster film, and the human storyline would make this film great. And then the redemption. I think the redemption arc of everybody, really, more so the fighter pilot, but everybody really, whenever they feel like they need to find a different path. And the scientist talks about how there's things they shouldn't have done during the war.
Shishima is the main character's name.
Tsushima, yeah. Like putting Japanese pilots in planes without ejector seats, to where they couldn't get out. Once you get in, it's like, you had no choice.
And not just his redemption, but the forgiveness that he got from Mr. Tachibana, who told him to live again. Yeah.
Yeah. Tachibana. Yeah.
And I like the tactic that he used to get him over. That was in a part of the movie that was very dramatic and serious. It kind of, brought me a sense of humor in that moment, where he's just like, it's all your fault. You know, he's telling this guy that he's telling this guy that lost all his friends and his servicemen to this attack, that it's like his fault. And he's doing it. He's like, I'm going to get a reaction out of this guy. And he's like, I knew you'd come back. I knew you'd come back and beat me with your bare hands and save the day by rebuilding this plane. Yes. You know?
Yeah.
Well, you're lying about me. You said I started it. You know, something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it has so many elements in it. There's humor, there's drama, there's very, you know, real life things that come up, and you know, there's, you know, situations and tones that really touch you as a viewer. You know, just watching it, and you know, having those emotional parts in, you know, in the sense that it, you know, it brings with the military personnel, having the regret and wanting to, you know, set a new tone and take down Godzilla with the it's an oxygen destroyer, right? It's basically the oxygen destroyer again.
Somewhat, but trying to decompress him,
yeah, and then rapidly bring him up. And I think it ends so dramatically, and I like the cliffhanger on if he lived or died, and he lives, and then there's another surprise. There's so many surprises. Norco is alive. Yeah, man, it's a great film. Even Jackie thought it was great. And Jackie she's not a Godzilla fan. She'll watch it if the kids want.
That's wrong with her. Divorce her.
Yeah, I know, right? But she was like, I had some faith in her on this one, because she's like, yeah, this was really good. I was surprised. You're right. This is a great film. And that's when you know it's a good film. That people who don't like Godzilla films are like, wow, I was wrong. I judged this film before I watched it, and it's great.
Yeah.
So this is a movie for everybody, and that's what makes, you know, this movie great. Is that you know, it doesn't matter if you're a Godzilla fan. If you're a war movie fan,
watch
this. Just a movie fan. Yeah.
And we didn't even talk about you know, you said there's so many different things. One is even an underlying love story. You know, he meets Noriko, who has this after the bomb, in which he meets this her, and she has this child, and she admits the child's not her, but she found the child in the rubbish and take care of it. He ends up finding this. He tries to find this sense of duty in her taking care of her and the child. It's like he's looking for a reason to live, and he doesn't know it yet. He's still going through his PTSD. Of course, Godzilla attacks and everything, and he thinks he loses Noriko in the Godzilla attack. And then he continues to take care of Akiko, the child, who his neighbor helps him out with, and he doesn't want to leave them. You know, he doesn't want to leave Akiko, but he knows he needs to sacrifice himself to stop Godzilla. And that's, of course, when Mr. Tajibani forgives him and tells him, no, you need to live again. So it gives him that purpose to live again. And then when you find out Noriko is still alive at the end of the film, it's even more important to the story. You know, and then, like you said, it can make you tear up a little bit, because it's very touching and very well done. And all this is going on around this incredible Godzilla design, who's very much a throwback to the original retro Godzilla, where he moves very slowly and kind of almost like a robotic, but also can be very quick in attack. And I love that, how he's moving very slowly, but then when the plane is coming at him or whatever, he can suddenly turn his tail very quickly, and he can strike almost like a snake or something, just a quick strike. And it's a really cool design. It's terrifying looking. The bolts that light up on his spikes when his huge radiation breath or his fire breath is coming out is really, really awesome, which is nothing. We've seen that before in Godzilla movies, where he has to warm up to his fire, but it's something the director
impactful.
Yeah, it's very impactful in this, just the way it's done. And again, this is where the musical score plays in, and the sound effects, and it just plays off so well. And it's terrifying, and it's awesome. And you know, in this version of Godzilla is the version that just, he's not here to save us. He's here to wreak havoc and destroy things. And that's people, I've had conversations with people that don't, why is it called Minus One? And well, there's your answer right there. It's after the war, it's like they're trying to rebuild, but yet it's a step backwards. as he destroys parts of Tokyo again. There's a lot of throwbacks in the initial attack to the original Godzilla film, from the tanks that are used by the military, the reporters on the roof reporting on him, which I think is really, really cool homages, and they come across just as that. Some directors in those hands, those could come across as very cheesy, but they don't. Godzilla attacking a train again, classic Godzilla. So some fantastic homages but yet also very original too, that work for this film. But I really like. Now we're in a little bit. We're doing our top 5 favorite Godzilla designs and suits. As much as I love Minus One, I didn't put it on my list just because I felt like it's CGI and it's a little bit different, and it's definitely a blend of. And they've even admitted that they took the best of all their favorite suits and they made a blend of that for Godzilla Minus One. But I still like it.
Bias.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't want to do the recency bias thing, even though I really like it. Now it does show up in my top 5 movies, but it didn't show up in my favorite suit designs. But but the Godzilla man is he's just all. I mean, I remember the initial trailer for this film about a year ago. It's like how terrifying he was in the trailer. Then you see the movie and you're like, holy shit, this Godzilla is not fucking around,
Yeah. It just ticked all the right boxes for me when I after my initial viewing of this movie last year. Like, I've never seen a scary Godzilla movie, and there it is. It's freaking scary, but yeah, I wish it played up more on the radiation stuff, even more.
Oh yeah.
But it's now we've gone through 2 Godzilla movies, Japanese Godzilla movies that are solo outings for I want to see him fight another monster. I think Japan needs to do Godzilla versus some kind of monster in the next movie, hopefully.
Well, and I think from everything that Yamazaki has said in interviews, I think that's going to happen. He's said many times, I want to put another monster in the film.
Yeah.
So I think that'll happen. But I'll never forget your initial text when you saw it, and you're like, oh, it's okay. And I'm like, really, man? It's just okay? Everyone's saying it's like the greatest thing ever. Your next text is like, oh, I'm just fucking kidding. It's awesome. You were trying to keep our expectations low at first.
Yeah. Because I saw it first, but I didn't want to overhype it for you guys.
Right.
Because you're about to go in and watch it.
I'm bad about that, am I not? I tend to overhype things and get y'all excited.
You generally don't. I mean, when you like something, you don't like you don't go in hyperbolic terms like it's the greatest thing I've ever seen or something. You say it's really good.
No, it's just Matt and Fast and Furious movies.
Oh, right. Yeah,
the best ever.
Or some Nick Cage movie.
Nick Cage.
That's a dream movie. Nick Cage, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Godzilla all in one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we got Kurt Russell in the Godzilla movie show.
That's true.
Yeah.
This can't get cooler than that.
No.
But
that would have been cool. An Arnold in a Godzilla film. Where he punches Godzilla or something. Fuck you.
But this is the first Godzilla movie that actually made me teared up, and that's pretty remarkable. For a human character too, not a monster. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I mean the story of Noriko and Akiko and Mr. Koichi is very powerful story.
Universal.
Well done. Yeah,
I think I definitely like this more than Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla is a good movie. It's a great movie, but it's definitely more Japanese oriented as far as like its satire and stuff, which just goes over our heads because we can understand the natural disasters that Japan went through, but we didn't really. The Japanese watching Shin Godzilla were like, the bureaucracy is really bad here, and for us. We can understand bureaucracy, but not to that level.
Yeah.
Because, it's like something that only Japanese audiences can relate to, but not us because we don't live there. We don't know, So it's it's kind of funny because I'm kind of transitioning towards, what was the Japanese reaction to Minus One? They didn't like it as much as Shin Godzilla. Funny enough. The general audience.
I've read some stuff too about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they thought it was too melodramatic for their tastes.
Okay.
Yeah, a little too. Um, they said it was cheesy in a way too for them, but it's still a great movie. They still loved it, but it was way too over the top for them. But when it goes to the international markets, it's like, oh, okay, well, we get it, we understand it, we relate to it because it's so, you know, universal to
Yeah.
us, so to the Japanese it's like that's a little over the top, but to us it's like, hey, that's how you should react given the
Right.
trauma that you've gone through, so it's kind of funny how things are reversed for us, because to the Japanese they can't really relate to that kind of emotion
Mm-hmm.
outwardly, but for us we're like, oh yeah, we can relate. You
Right.
know so that's kind of funny how things are reversed between Shin Godzilla and Minus One. So, but hey,
Yeah.
they won an Oscar for it just because of that, and they made a ton of money.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, no, I absolutely love the film. Still a year later, still love it just as much. Rewatching it, it's just still just as good. Hits just as hard. I think it's a remarkable film.
Yeah.
yeah,
Still holds up.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Since he's directing the follow up, and man, just amazing. They made this movie for $13 million. It's like wow,
yeah,
just incredible. And I think that's really cool.
yeah. Apparently, he's attached to do a J.J. Abrams production movie.
No,
Uh,
really.
yeah, Bad
And
Robot.
then, and I didn't know he directed that animated Lupin the Third. That
Yeah,
was actually pretty good. I saw that, and even a
I've
few
never
years
seen
back. I
it.
remember watching.
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched it a couple of years ago. I remember watching it. It's pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah, it's more animation wise. It's a little more got more in common with American animation than it does anime, but it's still a pretty solid movie. So yeah, be exciting to see what he does next as Godzilla will march on into its 71st year, and I would imagine since the movie's just starting pre-production, we get this in 2026 most likely. Would be the safe bet, even though I know they
yeah.
do tend to film things a little bit quicker and some
Hmm.
overseas and stuff, but I have a feeling it'll be 2026 before we get the next film. So that means 2026 should be a big year. We can get another MonsterVerse movie and another Toho film. So it should be pretty cool in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. All right. Well, we're not done yet with Godzilla month, as we've got a couple of top fives for our grand conclusion this week. And we're going to kick it off with our favorite Godzilla suits / designs, I think. And then we're going to do our favorite Godzilla movies. So let's start off with our suit designs. And who wants to go first this week?
I'll go first. Let's see. My number 5 top Godzilla suit or look. I have to start with, well, the OG, the Godzilla 1954 suit, the original suit.
Nice.
It's the
Shodai
blueprint.
Goji. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the blueprint. It's just something about it having ears. It's kind of cool, small little ears or something. And yeah, 54 for me. Who's next?
That would be me. Maybe it's because I recently watched the Heisei era, films a lot, but I put the Bio-Goji film, which is the Godzilla versus Biollante suit, 1989.
That's a good one.
I felt like he just looked a little bit more muscular. The spikes aren't as pronounced as I'd like, but I think they did a good job of kind of making him look terrorizing, making him look strong, and the suitmation artist did a pretty good job portraying him in the suit.
I start out my list at number 5 with a bit of maybe it's a little bit of a cheat, but it's such a cool effect and design on screen. And that's burning Godzilla when he's on fire in Godzilla vs. Destroyer. It's just so cool looking, and the suit itself, it's absolutely terrifying and frightening, and the effect work done on it. And like I said, we didn't have to necessarily pick suits. We also picked designs, and it technically is a design. It's had toys made off of it when Godzilla's on fire, and it's just I've always thought that part of the movie is just so freaking cool.
Yeah. His burning red eyes too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The steam coming off of him. My number 4 is actually the MonsterVerse Godzilla in Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong. I like how he has the classic dorsal spines, but they made him more glowy. Godzilla's definitely a little bit more glowy, blue
Yeah,
glowy in this one. He definitely looks like a something from the '80s Tron aesthetic.
definitely helps him look radioactive. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So that's my number 4. I like it a lot. It's a fun design. So
I went with all suits for my list.
Oh,
And
fancy man.
yeah, especially after that video long sent us. I forget which movie it was. It was for, but we were. I think it was 84. I think it was 84 Godzilla.
mm,
And learning like how hard it is to move in that suit and to animate that thing personally as a human. I think that it gave me a little bit more appreciation for the suits. Even the ones like Godzilla versus Megalon or something like that, where he's
yeah,
sliding on his tail.
yeah.
I'll have an appreciation for that. But I'm going with Godzilla 84, the 84 Goji suit. It was it borrowed heavily from the 54 suit, Godzilla back as an evil monster. I think, I liked it.
Not to go on a tangent, but what are those YouTube videos long where they make it sound like the suit ate the guy and took him over? Man, those abstract Godzilla videos. What are they called?
Found
You mentioned,
footage,
yeah, they're like found footage type things where the suit takes over the man and stuff.
mm,
Well, me and Wyatt was watching one day. They're really kind of weird and creepy. It's all
yeah,
made up, you know. But yeah,
yeah,
check those out one time. At number 4, I went with what to me is probably the absolute most terrifying looking version of Godzilla, and that's his final form in Shin Godzilla. Just what a scary freaking design with the bodies on his tail and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's just really looks like there's blood coursing through his scales, and it's just really pretty disgusting and terrifying and scary, and it's nightmare fuel Godzilla.
and
And
painful looking.
yes, in Shin Godzilla, and when and I think it's on my list because it stays with you. I mean, it's that scary looking, that design. You remember it after you see it.
Yeah,
And it's definitely wicked.
yeah. It definitely makes you feel like, okay, well, the whole Godzilla skin um, through the years is based on uh, colloid
Mm-hmm.
scars from radiation sickness.
Right.
Mhm.
So, and yeah, that shit looks painful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my number 3 is the Godzilla '92 suit from Godzilla versus Mega Godzilla 2.
Nice.
Um, it's the mid '90s Godzilla. He's more sleek looking as far as the head design.
Skinny
Definitely,
Godzilla.
yeah, kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's what they call them.
yeah, the very expressive eyes and good animatronic head.
Mm.
Very sleek, but yeah, a classic Godzilla look. So that's my number 3.
Number 3, I've got the Meyer Goji suit. It's from Godzilla 2000,
Mm,
Millennium, and Godzilla versus Megavirus.
mm-hmm.
But it's so different than any other Godzilla suit. He almost looks like like an atomic demon
Yeah,
versus an atomic lizard. He's got the horns coming out of the back of his head, and fangs. And so, like, I know, he has sharp teeth, but these look like fangs, like they went vampire
yeah,
werewolf teeth all the way around. Very a very horror type look
yeah.
on the Godzilla suit.
I do like the purple dorsal fins, the slight purple look to them, which is
Mm.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, very aggressive looking Godzilla. So
very aggressive.
And my number 3, I went with the OG Godzilla, the original one that started all. I mean, just to me, it's a bit of the nostalgic of it. The fact that in 1954 they were able to create this character and create this suit with the technology they had back then, which is pales in comparison to what we have now. And it's phenomenal that they pulled that off, and it worked in so many ways. And 70 years later, we're still discussing this character, and it's because of that original suit. If it doesn't work, the movie doesn't work.
Yeah. We're at number 2 now.
Yep.
My number 2 Godzilla design, it's a kind of a tie. It's Godzilla Minus One and Shin Godzilla, since they're both modern Japanese Godzillas. So I put them on the same spot. Godzilla Minus One is that classic culmination of Godzilla designs. You could feel the legacy of the entire history of Godzilla in that one. And some influences from the American design as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the Shin Godzilla, which is the whole full body horror look to him. Not as expressive as Minus One, but
No.
still, it has its own personality. Plus, it changes 3 different times.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 different forms. But yeah, that's my number 2, minus the G Minus One and Shin Godzilla.
I went with the Mosugoji suit, 1964. It's an older suit, but I feel like the suit has a lot of personality. Godzilla has those slanted eyes, and his face is kind of like pointed down, and he always looks pissed off. It's the same one from Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. And no, I like how it's it. I feel like I see that form on a lot of toys that I see, and maybe that's why I like it. It looks like it was the inspiration for a lot of Godzilla toys.
Number 2, I have Godzilla 85, Return of Godzilla. Man, I think this is because it's we talked about this when we did this movie a few weeks ago. It's the earliest Godzilla I remember growing up, watching that film, and remember seeing advertisement for it and the Charles Barkley commercial and all that famous stuff we had back then. And so rewatching the movie a few weeks back just made me remember, like, I think that design is really cool. It modernized. Yeah. I think it gets a lot of credit for modernizing Godzilla to what we know now. Well, maybe not now, but at that time, it modernized it from the Heisei era into the Millennium era. It updated Godzilla with a new kind of more scary look, which leads into what my number 1 will be when I get there, and I think it goes back to Godzilla 85.
Okay, so number 1, my number 1 Godzilla suit is Mosu Godzilla from 1964, Godzilla versus Mothra, the original. That was the first Godzilla I've ever seen as a kid, and it's a classic look. Great, nice long serpentine tail, aggressive looking. Also, yeah, the classic look from a classic era of Godzilla. So that's my number 1. I have a lot of nostalgia attached to this one suit. So
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I might be boring. I went with the original. I went with the Shodai Goji suit. I feel like it's a very serious. Maybe it's because it's black and white, but he's very serious. And his eyes, even though his eyes are kind of small, it definitely gives you that evil lizard-like look. And I like the wide base. He looks huge. And tears shit up, of course, just like every other Godzilla. But no, I went with the OG. I think it looks great in black and white, and he's terrible.
My number 1 is the movie we did last week, Godzilla from Godzilla All Out Giant Monsters Attack.
Nice.
It's kind of a good combination of
the
original and the Heisei era. They got rid of the weird design from early in the Millennium era that you mentioned earlier, which I think it's cool, but it's a little too weird for me with the fangs and all that.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the fact that they went back to more of a classic look, and the expressions are great. Like I think we mentioned last week on the show, whenever the things are shooting out of him, he just gets that look on his face like, oh shit, I'm screwed. And I just think it captured Godzilla very well in a very action-packed, fun movie. And that's probably one of my favorite designs of Godzilla. So cool, man. But we're not done. As we have to,
No,
we
we're
have to
not.
go out with a bang on this Godzilla month here, as we have to each give our top 5 favorite Godzilla movies of all time. And since I ended that one, I'll start this one. We'll go back around the other way. Um, and at number 5, man, I have Godzilla '85, Return of Godzilla. A lot of nostalgia in this for me. Like I said, one of the first Godzilla movies I remember seeing growing up. I love the sci-fi aspects of it with all the laser beams and the fighting and things like that in it. It's a fun film. It's pretty good. You know, it's maybe not the best Godzilla movies, but just a lot of history attached to it. And for a lot of them, a lot of Americans, man, it was their first experience with Godzilla because at that time, you know, VHS was still kind of new. You know, Godzilla films were, I would imagine, in the mid '80s, were still pretty difficult to sometimes see in America. You know, I'm sure they aired on, you know, early morning Saturday TV, things like that. But it was still kind of a niche genre, Godzilla himself. And I give Godzilla '85 a lot of credit to bringing it more mainstream.
I'll go next since Matt's always been in the middle.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
usually.
My number 5 is actually a tie, and it's actually the most fun I've had watching a Godzilla movie in the theaters. Is Godzilla versus Kong, and then Godzilla X Kong.
Nice.
I had a lot of fun with these films. They're just, you know, great set pieces, especially in Godzilla versus Kong with their 2 battles over the water, and and then in Godzilla X Kong. I know it's more of a Kong movie, but still, I still like the action of the last 20 minutes of that film. You know,
Yeah,
just
that last 20 minutes is great.
this is definitely a modern Showa era, you know, Godzilla type movies. You know,
Yeah.
so like the Showa era, which is the early period, which is very experimental, not experimental, but very fun uh, movies to watch. The filmmakers were having fun making those films and being creative with the battles and how colorful they were and how diverse, you know, in variety. So, yeah, that's my number 5, Godzilla versus uh, Kong and X Kong, New Empire. So,
I've got Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla '74 as number 5. Even though you've got the you know, the weird 8 people, I feel like the movie you know, definitely has all the best elements of the Showa era. And you've got obviously one of the greatest, if not the greatest adversary of Godzilla. And you know, it's badass. I think it's a great fight. And you know, an okay storyline.
yeah. Number 4, Mark.
Number 4. Sorry, I was trying to read my own handwriting. The original Godzilla, 1954. I mean, it's an all-time classic. You know, it started it all. I mean, it still actually holds up extremely well for a 70-year-old film. You know, sometimes you watch, you know, some early films. There's some early Bond films that don't hold up as well over the years and stuff, but Godzilla to me is a timeless film that holds up very well even by today's standards. And I think that you know, it's just very important to what we're talking about today, because if it didn't happen, we wouldn't still be talking about Godzilla. And
Yeah.
then it's a legitimately very good film. I mean, it really is. It you know, yes, it has a lower budget and the special effects. A lot of it's shot in the dark to hide some of the suit effects and stuff, but it's a good movie. It really is well done.
Yeah. My number 4 is another MonsterVerse movie, and it's Godzilla King of the Monsters. Not as fun as the 5th, my last pick, but still, I was very happy to see the classic Toho monsters modernized for you know, Western audiences, and King Ghidorah was just at his most, you know, evil in any Godzilla film. You know, show up, Heisei, whatever. Um, The Rodan scene is awesome. And also the final Battle of Boston, can't beat it. It's just a
Yeah.
great last climatic battle. So, King of the Monsters.
That movie was definitely made for fans. That
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah.
And you got just so many monsters in that film. They
Yeah.
just packed that thing full of them.
Yeah. Number 5 is most like Showa, and then my number 4 pick is most like Heisei
Yes,
Godzilla. So
that's it.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So go ahead, Matt.
I'm with Mark. I've got the OG Godzilla. I think the film still holds up today. It's still entertaining. And of course, yes, it did start it all. But I felt like they did a lot with little. And that speaks a lot to that film and its success and how it was able to make everything else.
Yeah. And number 3, man, the movie we discussed last week, Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant All-Out Monsters Attack. Talked about last week how much I really enjoyed that film. Probably my favorite film of the Heisei era, Millennium era. Sorry, and I just it starts out a little slow, but once it gets going, it's so action packed and it's really great action sequences. Lots of great monster action in it. Really good special effects too. Probably the best special effects I would think the Millennium era. I think it's really well done.
My number 3 is another cheat, another tie. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, the 74 version, and then GMK. Those are the 2 Godzilla movies that never fail to bore me. Both have great action scenes, pretty good story. And I just love how the ape aliens, when they die, they make donkey sounds instead of ape sounds. But also the pyrotechnics and both the special effects and explosions, really good. And those 2, GMK and Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. We've been beating those movies to death, it feels like. But,
a lot. Yeah.
But they're good. That's
they
how
are,
good
man.
they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3, Matt.
Yeah, I've got Godzilla 1984, and I like the G-force. I like that this is the introduction basically to the G-force, and the human answer to Godzilla that has not always been there. The humans versus Godzilla, it's Godzilla has the winning record there most of the time, but they do a good job of fighting back. And I like all the new special effects that came on in the 80s versus the end of the Showa era. And it's a nice, fresh re-intro to Godzilla during that time.
Don't feel bad long about cheating because I cheated number 2, man. At number 2, I have Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla versus Kong from the new MonsterVerse. Because I like both of them, man. They gave me what I wanted, man. I know the human story in King of the Monsters is not good, but it makes up for it with all the amazing kick-ass monster action. I walked out of the theater fully satisfied, going, "That's what I wanted to see: monsters fucking fighting each other." And that's what you absolutely get. And you get the same thing from Godzilla versus Kong. You get the dream matchup of Godzilla versus Kong. And then you get Mechagodzilla thrown in the mix. I mean, it's like those are fanboy movies that our dreams come true. Maybe they're not the best films ever made, but I go to the movies to be entertained and to have those fantasy type things happen. And that's what you get exactly in those 2 movies. And that's what makes them cinematic and fun to watch.
Cool. Yeah. And, the theater experience, the modern theater experience suits so well for Godzilla.
Right.
And Star Wars. Like, those are the 2 franchises that I'll always go to the theater, no matter how bad they might be. Because I've never missed any of those films when they release.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, if it's a Godzilla movie that's coming out for the big screen, I'm going to go watch it in the big screen. Same thing with Star Wars. I'm going to go watch Star Wars. I've never missed a Star Wars movie in the theaters ever.
Right.
So
same here.
Yeah. So my number 2 is 1964's Mothra versus Godzilla. It's just a great classic movie. I love the music in it. Some of the best music scores. And then very fantastical. And Godzilla's just evil. They're trying to stop Godzilla every conventional means possible. And a great monster battle in the middle of the film as well. Didn't like the ending, but still, I mean, the ending's not that bad. It's just kind of tepid.
Sperm attack Mothra.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, my number 2 is 64's Mothra vs. Godzilla. It's also my very first Godzilla film I've ever watched. So, number 2, Matt.
Yeah, I've got a MonsterVerse film, and I'm with you, Mark. Godzilla versus Kong. I'll watch that thing just to see the new Mechagodzilla on screen.
Oh yeah,
and how terrifying it is, and OP it is until they join forces and beat him.
Yeah.
And of course, and he beats him in like, man, he Peter Wellers him, man. He just blasts off Mechagodzilla's limbs with the axe, and then rips off his head. You know, it's badass. So great.
I totally agree. I never thought I'd see the day when I see King Kong fight freaking Mechagodzilla. Never in a million years I would ever dream of that, but it happened, and I'm thankful for that.
Yes.
Thank you for mentioning that, Matt, so I could make that point.
Yes, sir.
Number 1.
I'm number 1, man. I don't know why I have this feeling that we possibly all picked the same one. Maybe not, but it's Godzilla Minus One. I mean, it's the best Godzilla film made. I mean,
I'll save you the time too. I agree.
I agree.
Number 1.
Yeah, it's going to be unanimous number 1 here. I mean, it's a remarkable film. We just spent 30 minutes talking about it. We spent 30 minutes last year talking about it. It's just that kind of film, man, that stays with you a year later. Like I think I said last week, if we were to do a movie of the year this year, I pretty much already have my list made for movie of the year at the end of the year. I think this would still beat all 5 I have on my list this year. And that's just how good it is.
Because I think we talked about this movie 3 times directly or indirectly as well.
Right.
Because I think we talked about it before Godzilla month as well.
Yeah.
Was it 54?
I think we might. Well, 54 was the same weekend that Godzilla X Kong came out.
Yeah.
But I imagine Minus One came up in the conversation. And then we spent a lot of time with Minus One when we saw it in theaters. So, yeah, I mean, it's come up multiple times. But that's just the power of how good it is. I mean, and unanimous number 1. And if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Everyone has Netflix, just about. So, no excuse not to watch it if you're not seeing this. Like we said, Matt's wife said it was a good film. She doesn't like these kind of films because she's a moron. No, I'm just kidding. But I love you, Jackie. But, so she said it's a good film. It gets Jackie recommendation. It's a good film. We're going to start doing that.
Yes.
The Jackie recommendation.
It's like the Simon Cowell of movies. Simon Cowell would always you'd have to be really good to impress him on American Idol. Or otherwise he'd just be like, "You're dreadful. I'd rather listen to a cat get ran over by a lawnmower," or something like that, And,
we'll have to make that a segment sometime. You'll have to give us the Jackie approval or not. Man, so that was a fun month to do. And we're not done by any means with movies, of course, as we move into December, a month where we tend to over the years do kind of some family fun films, all leading to a annual Batman film right before Christmas. And we're going to do the same this year, do some fun films. And we're going to kick it off with a movie that I think has been moved around on our list about 4 or 5 times the last year. We keep talking about doing this movie. We haven't done it. And some of that was due to the legal trouble, I think, that Johnny Depp got into. We were like, maybe we shouldn't do this film right now. I remember you and me talk about that, Matt. But we're going to finally do it, man, because we talked about doing it. It is a really fun film, and it's on Disney Plus, so it's easy to watch. And that is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
You don't know what this is, do you? Aztec gold. The heathen gods placed upon the gold a terrible curse. 10 years we've searched. Every last piece we have found, save for this. Hello, Bobby.
They've taken Elizabeth.
Welcome aboard the Black Pearl.
We must save her. Where do we start?
Jack Sparrow. He talked about the Black Pearl.
Make a deal with him. He can lead us to it.
You forget your place. You are a blacksmith.
If you spring me from this cell, I shall take you to the Black Pearl and your bonny lass.
You're a pirate.
Forgot one very important thing, mate. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow. Not sure I deserve it. You're not facing normal pirates. Cruel, demented, vicious pirates, to be certain.
Say goodbye. Goodbye.
But cruel, demented, vicious pirates who cannot be killed.
The moonlight shows us for what we really are.
That's interesting.
We are cursed men.
I hardly believe in ghost stories anymore.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. Can't you all remember Captain Jack Sparrow? Kill him. I'm gonna teach you the meaning of pain.
You like pain? Try wearing a corset.
Here they come.
Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl.
I may have deserved that.
This is a really good pirate movie. Is it the best pirate movie ever made? I don't know. I'm sure there were some in the 60s and 70s that were made, some classics, but it's a kind of an untapped genre of modern days. You know, I know, what was it? Stars had that TV series, Black Sails or whatever, trying to tap into the pirate genre. But you know, this film, it's based, you know, movies you would think based on a Disney ride at Disney World should not work, but this movie works. You know, it's and that's a credit to Johnny Depp and how good he is as Jack Sparrow in this film. And it's a really fun adventure film in the same vein as you know, maybe an Indiana Jones type film. Just a fun adventure movie. You sit back, you grab your popcorn, and you watch it, and you have a good time at the theater. And they made 5 or 6 of these, and the first one is definitely the best one. You know,
Yes.
So it's one worth talking about. So it'll kick off our month of December as we do some fun films and trek on towards the end of the year. But until then, man, you know, we thank you as always for listening. Make sure you go to the rebelradiopodcast.com so you don't miss an episode of Godzilla Month. Go back and listen to them all and check them out. And as always, we thank you. And this has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
And this is Long Minus One. And thanks for having me on for the month as well. I couldn't pass it up. Could not pass this up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember, as always, just go there and
Go there and do it.